Martin Celebrity Roast, coming to you from the MGM Grand Hotel in the entertainment capital of the world, Las Vegas, Nevada. Ladies and gentlemen, from the beautiful Ziegfeld Room, tonight's star-studded roast has brought together some of the world's greatest entertainers. They've come from all over the world to be here tonight. Here in Las Vegas, in person, joining Dean Martin as he honors tonight's very special man of the hour, Frank Sinatra. With tonight's guests, Ronald Reagan, Gene Kelly, Don Rickles, George Burns, Dom DeLuise, Red Fox, Jimmy Stewart, Flip Wilson, Kelly Savalas, Jonathan Winters, Jack Klugman, LaWanda Page, Red Button, Milton Berle, Ernie Borgnine, Orson Welles, Rich Little, and your roastmaster, Dean Martin. With tonight's man of the hour, Frank Sinatra.
I'm truly fortunate to be counted as one of Frank's friends. I'm pretty lucky. Every night I get on my knees and pray. I pray that I can get off my knees. Yeah, Frank's been a real pal. He helped me when I started singing in cafes. And he helped me.
Cafe.
Oh, they changed it to cafe? All right. Helped me with my recording and motion picture career. And Frank, thanks for your support. Thanks for your support. I swear I'll wear it till the day I die. This man's success. You feel that earthquake? This man's success should serve as an inspiration to every American boy. Frank Sinatra was born in Hoboken, New Jersey, as an unwanted child, and now he's wanted in 5 states, especially the state of New York. As you know, New York City has been having its financial troubles. Nobody knew Frank had lent money to New York until they found the Statue of Liberty with her arms broken. Frank had a very lonely childhood. When Frank was 8, his father took him aside and he left him there. In high school, Frank never participated in extracurricular activities like nature study, paintings, or ceramics. Frank's hobby was a most interesting one. He was an amateur gynecologist.
Wait a minute.
Frank was pretty good with his hands. When he was out of high school, he decided to become a boxer. He fought 26 fights. Half of them were with the cops, and the other half with the photographers.
That's true.
Tommy Dorsey and his orchestra was playing a nightclub, and Frank auditioned for him. Tommy was really impressed the way Frank attacked those high notes. And for an encore, Frank attacked the cocktail waitress. Nobody sings sexier than Frank. I once played one of his albums. Album. And he got my record player pregnant. He's the only guy I know who wears a medic alert bracelet on his wrist, which reads, "I'm a sex symbol. In case of an emergency, give me a girl." He once opened a home for runaway girls, and he ran away with him. Before introducing our first guest, well, I just want to say that there's no doubt that when Frank retires, they'll hang his zipper in the Hall of Fame. George Burns is truly one of the great comedians. He's going to be 81 years old. So and for the last 3 months, he's been saving up his breath to blow out the candles. They're going to put him on his birthday cake, and he's going to come up and blow them out. And here he is, old sugar throat himself, Mr. George Burns.
You know, Dean, my sister Goldie is one of your biggest fans. When I told her this, I phoned her this afternoon. I told her I was dressing right next door to you. And there was a little hole in the dressing room between our... And she told me to look through the hole and tell her exactly what you look like. And Goldie got all excited. She says, please look through the hole, and I did. And she's now a Frank Sinatra fan. Business. So is Tony Bennett and Perry Como and Andy Williams. All us great singers. We've got it made. You see, when you're a singer, you don't have to worry about getting laughs. See, nobody's laughing. I'm not worried. The minute Frank walks out on the stage, the girls scream. And there we have something in common. I get the same thing from the nurses when I go in for a checkup. This morning, after taking a shower, I took a look at myself in the mirror, and I found out it takes very little to make a nurse scream. By the way, Dean, did you ever make the girls scream?
Well, you ought to know. You peeked through the hole.
I don't know whether you've noticed that, but as singers, Frank and I are very much alike. It's not that we phrase the same way, and it's not that we sing in the same key, and we certainly don't have the same range. But there's one thing we have in common. We both open our mouths when we sing. Come to think of it, we have another thing in common. We both make records. He sells his, I buy his. The records he makes are so sexy. My secretary, Trixie Hicks, she buys every one of them. And they're so sexy, every time she plays a record, she's got to throw a bucket of cold water on herself. You ever try to dictate a letter with a wet secretary sitting on your lap? It's exciting. No wonder that women still idolize Frank Sinatra. Now that he's older, he's really a good-looking guy. It takes a long time to get to be good-looking. As I said when I first got up here, a singer doesn't have to get laughs. And when you're an 81-year-old singer, you don't have to have a finish.
Mr. George Burns, ladies and gentlemen. My next guest is the distinguished former governor of the state of California. Ladies and gentlemen, the Honorable Ronald Reagan.
Well, thank you, Dean. I'm pleased to be here tonight, honoring my very dear friend, Frank Sinatra. I must say that when this program was being planned, the producer hadn't decided what political figures would participate. It was a choice between me and Governor Brown, and I lost again. Seriously, this is Frank Sinatra's night, and I'm here out of gratitude. Frank worked for me in all my campaigns. He was with me all the way to the governor's mansion. Without his help, who knows? I might have been president. It's my considered opinion that the two gentlemen who flank me would make quite a political ticket. Frank as president, Dean as his crawling mate. Why would Frank Sinatra make a good president? Well, let's look at the facts. He has many friends, and I'm sure he'd appoint only the most qualified to his cabinet. Who better than Sammy Davis, Jr., as Secretary of Health, Education, and Jewelry? Of course, in politics, there's always gossip and ugly rumors. I'm happy to expose one for the falsehood that it is. He has not granted a Pizza Hut franchise at Camp David. It'll be in the White House, where it belongs. Frank Sinatra will make a president who is strong on defense, but again will have concern for humanity. Scientists at his urging have developed an intercontinental ballistics missile that is not a weapon of mass destruction. It only hits photographers. I asked him what he thought of the energy bill. He didn't hesitate a second. He said, pay it. Frank is innovative. His mind is always working. But he's also willing to admit when he's wrong. Like wanting a comic like Pat Henry to open for him when he addresses the joint session of Congress. And he realized, speak to Congress, the real comics are in the audience. He won't have any trouble with Congress. They'll pass all the legislation he sends over just to get his autograph. And he'll settle that canal business, too. Panama wants a canal, he'll give them Venice. Well, you probably gathered by now, I think Frank Sinatra would make a fine president. But I don't know whether we can get him to run. Is it worth it if you have to give up being a king?
Get the lowdown on Frank Sinatra and find out what he's really like. Well, nobody is closer to Frank than our next guest. Ladies and gentlemen, here's Frank's personal chef, Mr. Dominic Pendoroni.
Nice to see you.
That's nice to see you, too.
As if you talk funny. Thank you so much for telling people that I am the best cook in the world, because it's true. Ladies and gentlemen, a prune. Please, breathe on the prune. Stewed prune. The first time I met Mr. Sinatra, he came into my restaurant. He had linguine, mazzacholi, and cannoli. Three of the biggest broads you ever saw in your life. They're very particular, especially Frank, you know, with his salad. He says, I want fresh tomatoes. I want fresh tomatoes. So I gave him a beautiful waitress with a filthy mouth. Oh, by the way, I just want you to know that I have written a pizza cookbook. It's 400 pages. The first 300 pages are napkins. And in my book, I got a lot of famous quotations, and one of the best quotations is from Julia Child, who once said to a turkey that she was stuffing, "You're embarrassed. How do you think I feel?" Oh, and Frank is a great athlete. Very few people know that. He is one of the greatest swimmers in the whole world. This is true. And you know that Frank should be very grateful to the press, because it was the press who taught him the Australian crawl. You know, I go back a long way with Frank, a long way. A long time I go back with him. This far back. In fact, if it wasn't for me, he wouldn't be the king he is today. Remember when the girls were swooning and fainting? I'm responsible for that. Yes, at the Paramount. They used to scream and faint. I used to give him, before he went on, a meatball sandwich with a lot of garlic. And he would sing, night and day, you are the one. He was in the recording studio. He was singing Strangers in the Night. He was just coming to the end. And I took a spoonful of hot pasta basil with a little red pepper. And he opened his mouth. I stuck it in his mouth. He went, oh, Scooby-Dooby-Doo. And every time he sings, it's connected to me. You know when he sings in that part? I chewed it up and spit it out. He's eating my food.
Picture on this album, you can see, is probably the most popular one Frank's ever taken. Everybody remembers Frank alone at night, standing under a lamppost and holding a raincoat. I didn't even see this yet. Could I take a look at this?
That's a lamppost.
Yeah, that's a lamppost. Standing here near this lamp, but if I was seeing this, I could have told you the whole thing. And the photographer was all set when Frank said, you know something? The lamppost, the suit, and the hat, that's nice. But something is missing. I don't know what, but it needs another touch. Something, I don't know. He said, it's foggy, misty, and at that moment, some fellow was walking by in a raincoat, and Frank pointed at the guy and said, that's it, the raincoat. Well, this guy with the raincoat was a nice fella and loaned it to Frank for this picture. He's in the audience tonight as Frank's invited guest. Hey, we'd like him to stand up and take a bow from the L.A. Police Force Homicide Division, Lieutenant Colombo.
That you remembered me after all these years. This is, I'm flabbergasted. I mean, I'm just flabbergasted. I thought that the album came out good. You know, I liked the picture. And, the raincoat never looked better. I know you got other speakers, so I'm not going to take a lot of time. I wouldn't do that, No, I wouldn't do that. I want to tell you it was a beautiful introductory speech. Thank you for the introduction. One quick question, if you don't mind. Those shoes, they're not rented. No, I figured. I feel a little self-conscious being here because I'm not dressed. But, I knew it was a big affair. But I didn't know that I was going to be brought up here. If I had known, I don't know what I would have done because this is all I got. But, when I got the invitation, I was at home. It was about 5 o'clock in the afternoon. You know that they come in the form of a telegram. They don't come in the regular mail. So they send you a wire. And I counted the words, 63 words. You can imagine what that cost. I don't know if you know that. Oh, here it is. I got it right here with me. See, this is the way you get invited here to this. Now, this is not a night letter. This is a regular telegram. But this is not the original. This is a Xerox, I wouldn't bring the original. could lose that. The original, my wife, she took that right away to the bank, and she put that in the safety deposit box. Until we could get the good frame, then we get it. Then it goes right up there on the wall next to the album cover, so we get that frame. Let's see now. Excuse me one moment, sir. Are you through with that cocktail napkin there?
No, yeah.
Thank you very much. If you don't mind, sir, just take a minute. I figure you do it now and you get it done, that's all. Just take it. Sir, if you don't mind, would you put to Lieutenant Colombo, Frank Sinatra? That's all. That's good. That's good enough. You don't have to write out Lieutenant. LT period.
I put LT already.
Could you put to the missus? Lieutenant Colombo and Mrs. Colombo.
And Mrs.
Frank Sinatra. She'll love that.
You sure that's all you want?
That'll be good.
That's it?
Yeah, that's it.
Can I say love? Love?
Love?
Say love?
Yeah.
All right.
Could you put the missus first? The missus, Colombo, and the lieutenant. That's it. Wait a minute. Even better. Just put to Rose. If you could have been at the house, you wouldn't believe this, what happened there when this invitation came. The family, they went crazy. One said, ask him this, and the other said, ask him that. And, on my wife's side, they know about show business there. Oh, yes. Like Dominic. Well, he's from Hoboken, like you originally.
Oh, yeah?
Not that he knew you. He didn't know you. Oh. But he knows show business. He knows Broadway. Well, he sold barber supplies in the Times Square area. 17 years. This is his home right here. You can't lose this. This glows in the dark. Anyway, he married this girl, Teresa. She's also from Hoboken. And when you, Frank, when you in those days, when you were singing at the Paramount, she worked in the Orange Julius there in the corner. She was a hostess there, showed people to their stools. So this is what they wanted me to ask you. Now remember, this is them asking, not me. I'm out of this, What they claim a few years ago when you retired was because your voice, you got a little tired. See, they claim now that when you make a record, that Jerry Vale does the singing for you. Let me give you this. This is from my wife, lasagna. It's all fresh tomatoes, and she made the pasta herself, and I hope you enjoy it.
Thank you very much.
You're very welcome. Listen, don't bother washing out the pot because that's Teflon. The steel wool that scratches the bottom. So. You could rinse it out with water when you're done. And there's an address in there, then you just drop it in any mailbox. I have to return the gentleman's pen?
Oh, the pen.
I borrowed the pen. That's right. Thank you very much. Art's Delicatessen. You eat there? Oh, that's a wonderful place.
You want to keep the pen?
Huh? Oh, that would be lovely. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. If you ever get a chance to go into Arts, they got there an early bird dinner. You get there, if you get there before 5, you get the main course, the choice, the soup and salad, and the beverage, $1.99. I want to ask you, this is very hard to ask. But my wife went crazy when she got the invitation. Oh, you need a lot of nerve to ask this. I don't know. My wife is watching, and I don't even know if you're permitted to do this. Well, you see, in my family, we get together every month. We all sing. And, I'm the worst singer, and you're the greatest singer, and they're all out there watching. Would it be possible, not a whole song, just a... Not a whole song. Just... would it be possible... Bars, bye-bye Blackbird, something. They get a kick out of it. They're all looking.
Hiya, Rosie. How's that?
Yeah, just one here, just here. Pack,
Back your
wares and woe, here I go, singing low.
Pleasure to introduce our next guest, one of the most respected citizens in Hollywood, a fine gentleman, a magnificent actor. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Jimmy Stewart.
Thank you, Dean. It's always nice to be invited to one of these roasts because it means that I'm able to see you, Dean. Now, I just hope that in your condition you'll be able to see me. I'm awful glad to be here tonight because for a long time I've wanted to tell a little incident involving Frank and a Western movie he made a few years back. Of course, I feel sort of qualified to talk about Westerns because I've made my share. As a matter of fact, at one point in my career, I was making so many Westerns, I was the only actor in Beverly Hills who had a saddle on my Buick. Of course, when we do those Westerns, we usually go out on location to one of those small towns way out in cattle country. And I remember on one occasion we went out to a little place in Utah to make a picture. And we thought the good citizens would be thrilled to have us, Hollywood people, talking and rubbing shoulders with them. And as a matter of fact, they hated the whole thing. And later on, I found why. It seems that a Western had already been made a few years earlier, something called Sergeant 3, starring you, Frank, and the rest of the guys you used to call the Rat Pack. Now, this little town in Utah used to be a very quiet and decent little town. In fact, it was so moral they didn't even have a town drunk. The men of the town had to take turns. You know what I mean. It was a sleepy little western town where the big excitement was watching the sunset about 5:30 or so. But that's before Frank and the guys all got there and started throwing wild parties. After that, the sun began setting later and later, 10:30, 11:30, midnight. You know, the sun was no dummy. It didn't want to miss any of the action either. A couple of times it didn't set at all. Just stayed up all night and tried to fool around with the moon.